Most people try to change how others treat them by talking more, by explaining, defending, or proving their point louder. But psychology shows something very different. People don't change their behavior because you demand it. They change because your patterns shift, quietly, consistently, and without announcing anything at all. In human relationships, silence, emotional steadiness, and subtle behavioral cues often communicate more than long explanations ever could. In today's video, we're going to explore 7 quiet habits, backed by psychology, that naturally shift the way others see you, not through conflict, but through clarity. Let's break them down. Habit 1. Reduce your instant availability. One of the clearest ways people shift how they treat you is when they sense your time is no longer something they can access automatically. In cognitive psychology, this relates to the scarcity perception effect. The human brain assigns higher value to anything that appears intentional, structured, or limited. When you always respond immediately, always adjust your schedule, always make room for others, the mind subconsciously categorizes your presence as something predictable rather than meaningful. But when you begin responding at your own pace, when you allow yourself moments of pause before replying, when your schedule reflects your priorities, not just external requests, people start noticing the shift. They become more thoughtful in how they approach you, more considerate in what they ask, and more aware that your energy isn't a resource they can draw from endlessly. This isn't avoidance or coldness. It's self-regulated presence, one of the clearest signals of self-respect. And in most social dynamics, others follow the tone you set. Habit 2. Speak less, observe more. Quiet people often appear more confident, not because they're withholding, but because their words come from a place of internal stability rather than emotional reactivity. In emotional intelligence research, this is connected to processing pauses, short, intentional moments where the brain evaluates before responding. People who practice this naturally appear more grounded. When you speak less, you allow yourself to notice who dominates conversations, who listens with intention, who asks genuine questions, who projects assumptions onto you. These behaviors reveal more truth about the relationship than anything said out loud. Speaking less also forces others to sit with their own interpretations, something surprisingly powerful in shaping respect. Silence gives weight to your presence, and people tend to measure their words more carefully around someone who doesn't react impulsively. And over time, this habit teaches you something essential. Observation is a form of clarity. Habit 3. Stop overgiving what isn't appreciated. In many relationships, personal or professional, overgiving starts subtly. You help a little extra, pick up small tasks, support others emotionally, anticipate their needs. At first, it feels generous, but gradually it becomes a role. Psychologists call this the over-functioning versus under-functioning dynamic. When one person consistently does more, the other person unconsciously adapts by doing less. Not out of selfishness, but because the brain normalizes the pattern. This is why your effort often becomes invisible. People can become accustomed to your generosity to the point where it no longer registers. But when you step back, when you stop automatically providing more than your share, you're not creating distance. You're restoring balance. You allow others to meet you halfway. You give them the opportunity to show effort. You reveal whether the connection was mutual or dependent on your overgiving. And most importantly, you remind yourself that respect isn't built on sacrifice, it's built on reciprocity. Habit 4. Reinforce what's healthy, not what's harmful. Every relationship is shaped by reinforcement loops, patterns the brain repeats because they're rewarded with attention, validation, or emotional release. If someone raises their voice and immediately gets a reaction, that reaction becomes reinforcement. If someone behaves dismissively and you chase after them, the pattern strengthens. Not because you intend to reward the behavior, but because human psychology responds to whatever gets engagement. Breaking the loop doesn't require conflict. Often, it simply requires calm non-engagement. When unhealthy behavior is met with quiet boundaries instead of emotional activation, the brain registers something new. This no longer works. At the same time, when someone expresses kindness, cooperation, or respect, and you respond positively, you reinforce the behavior you want more of. This is behavioral science at its simplest. What you acknowledge grows. What you disengage from dissolves. You're not teaching lessons, you're guiding the rhythm of the relationship. Habit 5. Protect your emotional world. Sharing emotions is healthy, but sharing them indiscriminately can blur boundaries. In psychology, this is known as emotional permeability, how easily your inner experiences spill into external interactions. People with high permeability can feel deeply connected, but also deeply exposed. Protecting your emotional world doesn't mean hiding your feelings. It means being selective about where those feelings are held. When you keep certain thoughts, fears, or insecurities within a trusted circle or within yourself, you reduce the chances of emotional misinterpretation or unintended harm. This habit also gives your nervous system space to recover. Not every emotion needs to be voiced in real time. Sometimes emotional clarity comes from sitting with your feelings before sharing them. Over time, people begin treating you with more steadiness because your emotional boundaries signal psychological strength, not distance. Habit 6. Match their effort calmly. One of the simplest yet most transformative social habits is reciprocity alignment, matching the level of energy, communication, and commitment that others show you. Most emotional exhaustion comes from giving far more than you receive. When you quietly adjust your effort to match theirs, relationships naturally reveal their true structure. If they increase their effort, you feel the shift. If they remain distant, the imbalance becomes undeniable. If they value the connection, they move toward you. If they don't, the relationship settles into clarity. Matching effort is not pulling away. It's returning the connection to its natural equilibrium. It lets you participate without overextending. It lets others show their authentic level of interest. And it prevents resentment, the silent destroyer of relationships. This habit teaches you that equilibrium isn't coldness. It's self-respect in motion. Habit 7. Leave when you feel unvalued. Few actions shift social dynamics more gently and more powerfully than the willingness to walk away when your presence is consistently overlooked. In social psychology, this is known as self-worth signaling. It communicates that your value doesn't depend on external validation, and that you won't remain in environments misaligned with your emotional health. Walking away doesn't require anger. It doesn't require confrontation. It can be as quiet as not re-engaging, not repeating old patterns, or not offering more chances than your well-being can afford. Ironically, absence creates a type of cognitive contrast the brain can't ignore. People often understand your significance only when the automatic access they once had is gone. But walking away is never about teaching them a lesson. It's about honoring your own boundaries, even if no one is watching. And for many, this becomes a turning point in how they navigate every future relationship. Quiet habits don't make you distant. They make you clear. And clarity is what reshapes relationships, not anger, not explanations, not confrontation. When your behavior aligns with your self-worth, people naturally adjust the way they speak to you, treat you, and engage with you. So, which of these 7 habits resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments. I read every one. And if you love understanding the psychology behind human behavior, hit subscribe for more content like this.